Should all accountants be left off in the backseat of your mind?
What are you?
Shut up.
Whoa.
All acquaintance, yada-da. This old lang syne.
What? Do you know the words to Old Lang Syne?
What's that?
The song you were singing.
No, you don't know the words.
Okay. Well, Happy New Year, Hank.
Yeah, Happy New Year's to you, James, you Jatarata. The New Year's a jet. It's a new year for a jet. You're going to have to change your calendars.
Well, the calendar changes. I don't have to change the calendar. I mean, it's, you know.
No, but you got to remember to put the 2018 on there now.
2019.
What'd I say?
You said 2018.
Yeah, that's 2018.
Yeah, but it's not 2018. Now it's 2019.
That's what you got to do.
I got to do what?
Yeah, to do that.
Okay. Hey, you're doing the controls here. What is this?
Yeah, it's new. It's all new for 2019. I'm going to actually engineer your show when you do the show.
You're actually going to do the job you have?
You're so funny with you're going to do the job, you got a job.
Is that what I said?
Oh, you're going to do the job. Who's that?
Well, that was you doing me, doing you. No, just you doing me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you doing the controls here. That's good, but Hank.
What?
What were you doing?
I was playing with the on-off button.
Well, don't do that. Hank.
You're like going, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah.
Hank, stop. Hank. Okay, it's not fun. All. Would you? Hank.
I like the button. You push it on and you go away, and then you push it off and you come back. I need that for my wife.
Oh, would you? All right. Give me. Hank.
What?
I just you know what? I've got that. Stop. Don't push the button. Let me just talk for a second.
Okay.
You know what? You've been doing a great job this whole year already.
You just started.
I know, you're doing fantastic. And you know what? I'm going to give you a little time off. Let me just take the controls of this, and you go ahead and make your onion sandwich or whatever you do.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Boy, you didn't even fight for a second.
No, I think that's a good idea. So you go ahead and you do that thing, and then I'll... Hey.
See, I can do it too with the button on and off. It's fun.
Yeah, all right. Okay, I'm gonna go make an onion sandwich and everything.
Okay, well, you tell Billy to come in here too, okay?
Okay, I'll get the kids with the Billy and the kid, yeah. Happy New Year's, the first podcast in the new year.
Yes, it is, Hank. Thank you.
Hey.
Okay. Wow. So much just to even start a show. It's like having kids. It really... You call Mr. James Taylor? Just James. Sir James Lancelot or James? Sir Lancelot James. Okay, no. Billy, first off, how are you? Happy New Year. Oh, yes. Happy New Year to you too, sir. Did you have a good New Year's Eve and everything? No, as a matter of fact, yes, I did. I stayed home and I watched a lot of old movies. Oh yeah, what would you watch then for New Year's? What would be like your big thing? Well, I like the Goonies. The Goonies are okay for me. The Goonies, yeah. I was never a Goonies fan. I never got into that. I think it was a little after my time. Well, it was way after before my time, but I liked it a lot because I like Chunk. Hey, you know what? Funny story about Chunk. Chunk is actually now, he's no longer an actor really, he's an attorney, and he was my attorney. He's an entertainment lawyer, and he was actually my lawyer for a while when I needed a lawyer for some entertainment things. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's a very good story. You should save that for the podcast, sir. Well, we're on the podcast. Oh, well, yes, right now, yes. In fact, the podcast, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Well, I didn't finish telling you about all the movies. Okay, yeah, we can do that. But I wanted to talk to you about the podcast stuff because we're on the podcast now.
Yeah, but I thought that'd be an interesting thing for your friend and your fans and all the people listening to know what kind of things that we did on New Year's. And I thought I made some notes.
Okay, remember the notes?
No, I know, but these are notes that I made.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So I have the notes right here. List all the things you did on New Year's Eve.
That's it?
Yeah, no, I thought that would be good. That would be entertaining for your fans.
Okay. Well, we can do that. But first, before we go any further on this show, we have a new Twitter handle specifically for the show.
Yeah, oh yes, no, we got that all set up for you. You know, so I set it up over the holiday season there.
Yes, the other night you and I set up the Twitter. There's a now Talking to Myself, the JATcast Twitter page, an official page for this podcast, because, you know, many people now, most people that are listening to this probably already follow me on Twitter at JATactor, at JATactor.
Yes, you know, I follow you.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you follow me. I'm sure other people follow me as well. And so we thought it would be a good idea to set up one just for the podcast, because I noticed, you know, a lot of podcasts have their own Twitter account and everything. And so now I just need to figure out how to juggle all of that now, because now I'm looking on my Twitter account. Now I got to go to that one and I got to go to mine and I got to make sure I'm not on that one when I'm following people there, or that they following me there. It's very confusing to have two accounts.
You see, no, I have 7.
You have 7?
I have 7 different accounts for the different things that I like to do.
Okay, that's a whole other episode for a whole other time. So the new handle, if you are a fan of the James Arnold Taylor Talking to Myself podcast, you can follow us on Twitter now at the JATcast, at TheJatcast, the JATcast, because we call it the James Arnold Taylor podcast, the JATcast. So it's at the JATcast on Twitter. You can follow. And then you'll get updates and different things from all of us. You know, in fact, I'm going to have you, Billy, then you'll do some stuff on there.
Well, absolutely. So, like, I would answer questions for people sometimes if we do like an Ask JATcast kind of a question thing.
Right. And then we could bring Reginald, don't call me Reggie, and Hank and everybody on the JATcast Twitter account to do things for the show and to kind of preview what's going on with the show.
Yes, I think it's very exciting. Yes.
Okay. So, Billy, here's what we should do then.
Yes, I'm listening, sir.
We should do a behind-the-scenes video to put on the James Arnold Taylor Twitter account, a little video of people seeing behind the scenes of what it's like on the James Arnold Taylor podcast. What do you think?
Oh, no, I think that's an excellent idea, sir. I think you should do that. We could get Hank to come in and roll the camera.
Well, why can't you roll the camera?
Well, because I know then I can be on the video. If I'm rolling the camera, then I can't. I'll only be behind the camera. You see?
Okay, fine. Hank, hey, Hank.
Well, we got you. Yeah. Hello.
Yeah, Hank. Okay, so we want you to get on the camera, hold the camera, and videotape Billy and I doing the James Arnold Taylor podcast, so people get a behind the scenes look at me doing the podcast.
You want me to do the cameras with the whole thing with the camera, hold the camera?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You sure you don't want Billy doing that?
No, I was thinking it would be a good idea if you did it, because then people can see me on the video.
Well, you just want to be seen on the video doing the thing. That kid.
Well, okay, look, both of you, okay? I don't care who holds the camera. Just one of you hold the camera, and we'll do a little video showing everybody how the James Arnold Taylor podcast works behind the scenes, okay?
Yeah, okay, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, okay, very good, okay.
Okay, so, Hank, you roll the camera, and you tell us when we're rolling.
What button do I push?
Look, I already set it up. I just handed it to you.
Okay, yeah, but you got all of the little buttons. Do I put?
No, don't push any more button. I already set it up.
What, this one?
Oh, sorry, he hit the wrong button.
Billy, I can see that he hit the button. Okay, look, let me see it again.
All right, thank you. You want to film it?
No, I don't want to film it, because you're supposed to film it so people can see me doing the video with you and Billy and...
I'm willing to film it now.
Okay, now you want to film it, Billy?
Well, no, I was just saying, because if Mr. Hank can't film it, then I'll film it.
Okay, no. Look, Hank will do it, okay?
Okay, whatever you say.
Yeah, whatever, I don't care.
Okay, so Hank, you push the button.
Which button do I push?
No, don't touch any other buttons.
Well, you were just saying to push the button.
Oh, no, okay, look, now he pushed the button, okay.
No, sir, I saw that he pushed the button.
Yeah, Billy, I see that he took the wrong... Okay, Hank, take the camera.
Okay, you want to hold it right there?
Yeah, okay, take the camera. Now just hit the button, and we'll do the behind the scenes so people can see what's going on the James Arnold Taylor podcast behind the scenes.
Okay, so I'm going to hit the button. All right. Okay, you're rolling.
Okay, very good. Are you rolling?
Yeah, you're rolling.
Oh, yeah, I see that it's actually rolling, sir.
Okay, very good. So everybody, this is behind the scenes of the James Arnold Taylor podcast, and I don't know if it's actually exciting or not, but you get to see kind of behind the scenes and how it all works. Good?
Yeah, I know. I think it's a good video. People like to see the behind the scenes video stuff like that. Yeah.
No, sir, I agree with Mr. Hank here. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, very good. I'm glad you both like it. Now, okay, I think that's enough video.
You want me to stop?
Yeah, you just stop the video.
Okay, which button do I hit?
Hit the big red button, the button right there that you would hit to stop the...
Do you want me to stop it? Let me push the other one. Oh, that flipped it around. Now I see myself.
No, not that button.
Okay, I'm looking funny. No, hey, look at my hair.
Hank, just stop recording.
Okay, geez, what? All right, let's stop recording.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll put that up on the James Arnold Taylor podcast Twitter account, and people will see videos of behind the scenes of the James Arnold Taylor podcast. It's kind of exciting, I think.
No, sir, I think it's very exciting, sir. It's very good and very exciting, sir.
Okay, you guys can go.
Okay, thank you. All right, I go back. Hey, Billy, I'll make an onion sandwich.
Yes, sir. No, Mr. Hank, I like an onion sandwich.
Just Hank.
Hank, sir.
Just Hank, sir.
Okay, all right, bye. Go. Sheesh. Welcome, everybody, to the James Arnold Taylor podcast. It's wonderful to have you. It is the first podcast of the new year. And, well, we should get Mr. Announcer Guy in to announce the show. Oh, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Oh, yes, James.
How are you?
I'm doing good, James. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Happy New Year to you.
And a Happy New Year to you too, James.
So did you do any big plans for the New Year's?
Oh, me and my brothers Charlton and George hung out and just did announcery things.
Okay, all right. Well, that's good. Well, do you mind announcing the show now for the new year? Do you have any, is it going to be different or anything? You want to do anything new for the New Year's intro?
How about if I do this? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the JATcast, talking to myself, starring James Arnold Taylor.
Oh, you just kind of reversed the words around and stuff. That was pretty good.
Is quicker and to the point.
Yeah, so that'll be more of the plan for the new year.
Well, that's the hope.
All right, see ya, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Bye-bye, I'm going to go now.
He's so nice. Well, it is the James Arnold Taylor podcast. It is the first episode of the year, and it is like almost 20 minutes into the show, and we finally did the intro. So nothing has really changed this year for the show. And this is like episode 11 of the podcast. I hope you've been enjoying the James Arnold Taylor podcast so far. I've had so much fun doing it, as I've told you, pretty much every episode. And, there's so many different things to talk about, and, there's so many different topics I always get on. I think, what could I do for the show to make it new? And it's a new year, and I think, do I want to change anything? Well, what would be the plans I would have for this podcast for the new year? Of course, now there's always that possibility of doing sponsorships and stuff. And I would love to have sponsors on the show. I really would. In fact, if you want to sponsor the James Arnold Taylor podcast, feel free. I don't know who you are, but no. Here would be my wish list, and some of it relates actually to my Christmas wish list, or things that I got for Christmas, because I can talk about that. Because when we recorded the last episode, even though it came on the day after Christmas, it was actually a few days before Christmas that I recorded it. Just like this one, it's not actually 2019 yet when I'm recording this. It's New Year's Eve right now. It is December 31st. Of 2018 right now as I am recording this episode that will come out on the 2nd of January 2019. So I don't know if I've had a good New Year's yet, but I'm hoping that I did, and I'm hoping you do as well. But I can talk about what I got for Christmas now, because see, on the last episode it really hadn't been Christmas yet, so I couldn't really say what I actually got for Christmas. I had to kind of pretend, and everything, and I didn't get into specifics. But now that I know exactly what I got, I'm talking really fast, aren't I? As a voice actor, little side train here we go. As a voice actor, I get asked a lot to slow down because I talk so fast sometimes. I'm one of those guys, I can do the fast reads, the whole end tag kind of thing. Offer expires November 30th. See store for details. Batteries not included. Action results separately. That thing. And so I tend to talk fast, but I like to talk fast. and I think it's fun. But I'll slow down for the James Arnold Taylor podcast. You know, isn't it funny? I talk so fast, and yet this show is still like 90 minutes long. My goodness, I fit like 3 hours into 90 minutes, though. So that's pretty exciting, isn't it? Okay, so what did I get for Christmas? Oh, I got some cool stuff. I did. I got some good stuff for Christmas. And I got a book. I put it out on Instagram. I put a post out on my Instagram account. Do you follow me on Instagram? Do you follow me on Twitter? Do you follow me on Facebook? Do you follow or subscribe to my YouTube channel? I hope you do. I hope you give this show a nice big fat review of thumbs up, 5 stars, give a rating, give a review on iTunes, and give comments and thumbs up on YouTube. And I don't think Spotify and Google Play and them have places to do that. I don't know if they do or not. If they do, give me a nice review there. The Apple iTunes reviews are really the most important. If you listen on iTunes, please give me a nice review. Take the time and give me 5 stars. Boy, is it appreciated. It is so appreciated. And anyways, okay. So some of the stuff I got for Christmas this year, last year, 2018. Isn't that weird? 2018 is over. Man. It's very strange. It is very strange because I grew up in the 80s and the 70s and 80s and 90s, you know, and beyond. But it is amazing how far into the future we are. Great Scott, Marty.
Whoa, wait a second, Doc. You mean to tell me it's 2018 and we don't have hoverboards and flying cars?
No, Marty, I guess we missed the boat on that one.
Yeah. No hoverboards, no flying cars yet, but I got some cool things for Christmas. What did I get? I got a book called, so I was saying I posted this on Instagram the other day, showing this picture of this book I got for Christmas, which is a fantastic book. It's called A Man and His Watch. And it's pictures of famous people's watches and interesting people in history's watches. They're actual watches, like Paul Newman's watch that was given to him by his wife, and it's a beautiful Rolex. And I'm a collector of watches. I've loved watches my entire life. I've always loved watches and timepieces. I just think there's something neat about them. They're comfort for me. I always wear a watch. I'm not wearing one right as I say this because I just got back from working out and stuff, and so I don't wear a watch when I work out. But generally speaking, I wear a watch. And so I collect watches. I have a collection of various watches, of some Rolexes and Hamilton and Omega, and it's just some other really lovely. I have some great Seikos and Tissot's, and I love watches. There's something about them. And so they're fun. They're just fun. So I got this beautiful book, A Man and His Watch, and I love it. And I put it up on Instagram, and I got like 3 comments, and only one of them was about the book. The other 2 were like asking me Obi-Wan questions, which I always think is weird. When I put a post up on Instagram, and then people like use that as the opportunity to ask me something about something besides what I posted, that's weird to me. But anyways, so I don't always answer those ones. You may notice. So if you're gonna post a comment on something that I post up on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, make sure it relates to what I'm actually posting. Otherwise, I may not give you an answer. Okay? Because that's the way I am, because I feel like etiquette-wise, we're talking about this, so stay on topic, says the guy that always changes the topic every 2 seconds. Anyways, people try to use it as a way to get in and ask me questions about Star Wars and stuff. And anyways. All right. So I got that book, A Man and His Watch, and I really love it. It's just a wonderful book. And I got, I got this thing. It's really cool. Have you heard of this thing called Muse? Now, I get nothing from the people at Muse. This is not like a paid endorsement or a sponsorship thing. Although, hey, Muse people, if you want to sponsor my show, I'm telling you right now, my audience is the perfect audience for you. And I am the perfect audience for you because I went out and bought one of these Muses. Well, I didn't. My wife did. So my wife bought it for me for Christmas. And the Muse is this, it's this device you put on your head and it wraps around your ears and it helps you during your meditation time. And it's a fantastic device. You use it with your smartphone and your earbuds. You plug in the earbuds and you listen and then it's connected and it reads your brain waves, very much like neurofeedback. And I do neurofeedback, and neurofeedback's fantastic. And so this Muse device, hand in hand with neurofeedback, this thing is brilliant. So again, this is my own personal endorsement only because I really like the thing. They don't even know who I am. But maybe maybe I'll send them a clip of this and say, hey, look I like your product. You should sponsor my show. Because many of you want to learn how to meditate better. You want to learn how to kind of calm your minds. And we always are talking about being mindful here on this show. And we're talking about being in like a nice meditative state at least once a day and taking that time to relax and calm your brain and how important it is. This device helps you do that. So I think it's a fantastic thing and it's really brilliant. So you put this thing on, you listen, and if your brain is in a state of calm, you hear birdies, which I love. I love birds. And so you get your brain either active, calm, or kind of normal state. And it shows you on your app, it shows you all the various stages of your brain during the time of meditation. It's got a built-in timer, and so it tells you, okay, this session is going to be 5 minutes when you start, and then you go into 10 minutes, and you go longer and longer and longer. And I have been doing it every day, and I love it. I just love it. So anyways, so I got that Muse, and you can find them. I found them on Instagram is how I discovered them. You know what it is? It's choosemuse.com. Choose, CHOOSEMUSE.com. Choose Muse. Check it out. Oh, look at that. The original Muse, now $179, so under $200 for this really fantastic device that helps you meditate, helps you be mindful, and active, neutral, and calm. Those are the various stages your brain goes through when you're in this meditation state, and it gives you different points and stuff, and really cool. ChooseMuse.com. Look at that. I did a little commercial for them, and they don't even sponsor my show or anything, but I loved it so much because it was a perfect Christmas gift for me. There you go. Thank you to the Choose Muse people. I don't know. All right. So there's my little commercial. See, I don't have commercials. Like I was listening to other podcasts over the holiday here, trying to kind of get a sense of what everybody's doing and stuff. And so many podcasts start with like commercials and everything. And I find it kind of distracting. It gets you away from it. And you know, look, if I did commercials for things, so if I had sponsors, I would make sure that Hank and Billy and Reginald and all the various characters came on and helped me do the commercials. I think it'd be fun, you know?
What, you like that Muse thing, James? You put that band on your head, you do the thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's good. Hello, hello, hello.
No, you can't say that when you're doing the Muse.
Hello, hello, hello.
Anyways, okay, so that's what I would do. This is just my cheap attempt to get them to want to sponsor my show. No, I would love sponsors because it would help, cover the cost of doing the podcast. But at the same time, I don't want to have a million commercials on the show. So I don't know. We'll see. Huh? Yeah, there you go. What else did I get for Christmas? Oh, let's see. I got a couple of records. I got some classical music, and I got the album, the vinyl album of The Greatest Showman. I love the movie The Greatest Showman. I have the soundtrack on, digital download, but and we own the movie and we watch the movie a lot. But my daughter got it for me as a present. So on vinyl, The Greatest Showman, because we have a record player here and we play records while we're making dinner and stuff. We put on a record. That's nice, and then it's more tactile, and you put the needle on it, and it sounds like everything's on a record, and there's that warmth sound of a record, and everything sounds a little different. It feels a little different. And the music feels a little better and more warm, and so I really like it. So I got The Greatest Showman on vinyl. That was a fun gift, and I got a Snoopy book because I'm a big Peanuts fan, and I got socks and toothpaste and all of that stuff. All the essentials in my stocking. I got socks in my stocking. I always think that's funny. And there you go. I don't know. I got a bunch of. Oh, I got. You know what else I got? Another great gift. These people should sponsor my show as well, because I'm going to do another. Let's see. This is Somnos, SOMNOS, Somnos weighted blanket. Do you know about weighted blankets? So look I am going to be set for the new year. I got my Muse to calm my brain, and I got my weighted blanket to do it. In fact, I could put my weighted blanket on me as I do my meditation. Do you know what a weighted blanket is? Now, if any of you, I know some of you out there have autism or Asperger's. Weighted blankets are wonderful. They're I really like it. It feels better on the body, and it's very helpful for people with autism or Asperger's or ADHD I find it very calming. The weighted blanket, the weight of the blanket over you, and even sometimes if I'm just sitting watching television, I'll put the little blanket on me and it feels good. There's that extra weight, and it's very therapeutic. And so anyways, I got one of those. That was a big, nice Christmas gift. So you can check them out. Their website is somnossleep.com. SOMNOSSLEEP. Somnos Sleep. Again, I get paid nothing for any of this. I'm just telling you, these are the products I use and the stuff I got for Christmas, and I think are really helpful for keeping me in a nice, calm, meditative, peaceful, mindful state. And some of you are interested in these things. So there you go. So, anyways, what can we expect from the James Arnold Taylor podcast today? Well, I mean, we've talked a lot about all this stuff. It's a new year. We talked about kind of a New Year stuff on the last episode, but I hope you're practicing your mindfulness and your thinking about what you want for the new year and being prayerful and mindful about it, like really asking, what is it I want to accomplish this year? Writing stuff down and doing all that, because I think it's important stuff. So what can we expect on this episode? Well, we're gonna have part 3 of my interview with Dave Filoni, the Filoni Files. Oh, and I think it was MC Lego Boy, McLego Boy, that actually gave me. That's his handle on YouTube, I believe. MC Lego Boy was the one that gave me the Filoni Files name, is what I've found. So thank you for that. The Filoni Files, we're going to continue on with the Dave Filoni Files on this episode. We got one more after that. And then, you know what I'm going to do in the next few weeks after we finish the Dave Filoni interviews? I'm going to break it up into probably 2, and it'll be a good portion of the shows. I did an interview with my friend Alan Arnold, who wrote a book called The Story of With. And it is a very good book about inspiring you and finding your dreams and all of that. And I talked with him a while back. We did an interview, and I'm going to put that on the podcast. That's going to be coming up in a couple of weeks here at the James Arnold Taylor podcast. I think you'll find it informative and inspiring for you and your dreams. And hearing Alan, who is a wonderful guy, a very inspiring person, and has written a fantastic book. In fact, Catherine Tabor, the voice of Padme Amidala and Princess Leia, as well as many other things in the world of voiceover, and one of my best friends in the world, her and I did the audio version of the book Story of With from Alan Arnold. And so we'll talk a bit about that as well. But so that's going to be coming up in the next few weeks. Going to be doing some of those interviews. But this gets me onto a topic that people kind of have been asking about when I look at the comments and things everywhere on the James Arnold Taylor podcast, with people talking about it and asking me, and some of the emails and comments I get from you folks. Everybody's asking me to interview this voice actor or that voice actor. Some of you are sending like these just way too big a lists of, have this person on and this person on and this person. You know what? I don't know if anybody's noticed yet, but this show's called Talking to Myself. And I talk to me and the characters, and I talk to you. And then I play little snippets of interviews from the past, or if it's a specific thing, like my interview with Alan Arnold that will be coming up in the next few weeks. This podcast is not a podcast at this point where I'm going to interview voice actors about voiceover. It's just not. So for all of you that want that, I appreciate that. I so appreciate that's kind of what you're into or hoping that I would do on this. But I feel like there's plenty of other podcasts that already do that. So I'm not going to do that. I mean, Butch Hartman's Speech Bubble, of course, Rob Paulson's Talkin' Tunes. I mean, Talkin' Tunes is kind of the definitive one for that. And for him interviewing other voice actors and finding out about voice actors. So you don't really need me to interview Tara Strong or John DiMaggio or, anybody else in the world of voice acting, because they've all done Rob's podcast. I've done Rob's podcast, and it's a great podcast about voiceover. So listen to Talkin' Tunes if you really want to hear interviews with them. But that's really not my thing here. It's just not. It's not. The other thing is it takes so much time to then. We're all so busy, and so to say, D. Bradley Baker, I want you to be on my podcast, which I would love D. Bradley Baker to be on my podcast, of course. Why? Because D is one of my dear friends, and I love him. But and we could talk about voiceover and all of that, but that's not what this podcast is about. It's really not. And to try and schedule that it's an act of God that needs to come in. Because, for example, Clone Wars Conversations, that's my interview show. So like if you want to know about things, or the JAT show, those are my interview shows with voice actors and Star Wars people. Those are the places where I do that. Now, those are on my YouTube channel, and those, look, Clone Wars Conversations probably will come back at some point in this next year. Somebody put one on like, oh, rest in peace, Clone Wars Conversations. No, Clone Wars Conversations is not over. Okay, it's just on hiatus because, for one, I have no studio to shoot it at. Two, getting everybody to come in and shoot the episodes was a lot of work. Now, see, you have to understand, I don't pay any of them to come and do that. There's no money in any of it. It costs me a lot of money to shoot it and to put it together and to edit it and to do all that of my time and effort. So what I have to get everybody's schedules to line up to do that. So it takes a lot. Catherine Tabor, who is, again, one of my closest friends in the world, still has not been on Clone Wars Conversations because we couldn't find the scheduling time to do it. Isn't that funny? So the reason I don't have a lot of, voice actors and stuff on here is, one, Rob Paulson's Talkin' Tunes already does that, as well as some other shows. Two, it's just scheduling everybody is a lot of work and taking away from their time and their busy lives and schedules and their families to come on this podcast and talk to me about stuff that they've already talked about on so many other podcasts. It feels redundant, and I don't feel like anybody gains anything from that. I really don't. So from time to time, if I have the opportunity to bring somebody in on the show, I will do that. But for the most part, this show is me talking to you and talking to my characters and playing little snippets of interviews that I've done in the past that I feel are interesting. So I hope that's all right. And I hope that answers everybody's questions. And so please don't feel like you need to send me emails and stuff with these gigantic lists of voice actors you want me to interview on this show, because it's just not what this particular podcast is about. So, is Clone Wars Conversations gone? No, more than likely I'll bring it back. Hopefully, I'm looking for a new space to build another studio at, and perhaps I'll do that. And if I do, I'll bring the show back and I'll get everybody in and I'll do the second season that I always wanted to do. Still haven't interviewed Ashley Eckstein, D. Bradley Baker, Tom Kane, Catherine Tabor, Nika Futterman, Corey Burton, Daniel Logan. So, a lot of voices from Clone Wars. Now, granted, we did 14 episodes of Clone Wars Conversations last season, and I had a ton of great people, from Matt Lanter to Sam Witwer to Anna Graves and Jim Cummings. I mean, huge names in the world of Clone Wars. And yet I still have a whole other season I could do, very different. And I could probably do a season after that. Jet Lucas, Henry Gilroy, offshoots of people that have been on the show or connected with the show. I could certainly do that. I would love to do it. But again, that's a on-camera show. And I could put it in podcast form, but it's a video show, and I shoot it in a studio, and I have sets and things, and it's all very planned. And so that show hopefully is not gone completely. The JAT show, which is another show, I only did 2 episodes of the JAT show. And I had a ton of fun doing it, and I wanted to do more of them. But again, getting everybody out to my studio, scheduling it. See, I don't live in Los Angeles. I live on the outskirts of LA. So getting people to come out, even if it's only a half-hour drive for them, in their mind they go, oh, I have to leave LA. It's hard to get people to come out to my area, to where my studio is and everything. So that's another reason why I don't always do these things. But also videos and such, I love putting the videos on the YouTube, and so many of you subscribe, and you're probably even listening to this. Some of you are listening to this on my YouTube channel, which I'm so grateful for. But putting videos together for my YouTube channel takes up a lot more effort and energy than it does for me to put the podcast together. However, the podcast is taking up a lot of my free time right now. So look at this. I don't mean to sound like I'm complaining in any way. I love doing all of it. I want to do. See, what happens is every one of your comments I take to heart. That's what it is. I'm a helper. I'm a people pleaser. You ever do the Myers-Briggs or the Enneagrams, the personality profiles? On all of those, I always come up as the helper, the guy that wants to make sure everybody's taken care of. So when I read your emails, when I read your comments, and you're all asking, oh, when's Clone Wars Conversations coming back? Or when are you going to bring this person in on the show? Or when are you going to do that? I want to please everybody. I want to give you all the desires of your hearts, but I can't. Okay? I can't always do that. And I can't certainly always do it in the time or the manner or the fashion that everybody expects. But I'm doing my best to do it all, because I love putting all this together for all of you. I really do. So all that said, that's kind of, rolls into the New Year's stuff too, like what to expect in this new year on the James Arnold Taylor universe. I don't know, all the places that I have stuff. A lot of good stuff coming up this year, a lot of new exciting things, and I hopefully will walk you through it all right here on the podcast. The podcast is going to be your one source to really find out the most stuff and see what's going on. And, when I do videos, I'll put them out as much as I can. I'm not really doing the JAT drives anymore because the podcast has taken over for it. And I feel like that's okay because I think it's the same thing. And I think most people weren't necessarily watching the JAT drives. They were listening to the JAT drives. So that's why I said, you know what? I should do the podcast. So anyways, there you go. Hey, let's do part 3 of the Filoni files. The Dave Filoni files. So again, I sat down with Dave Filoni about 5 years ago at Rancho Obi-Wan, Steve Sansweet's place, which is the most fantastic collection of Star Wars memorabilia you'll ever see on the planet. And it is in Petaluma, California. You can go out there and you know what? Also, you can support Rancho Obi-Wan if you do not. And they take donations and is a tax-deductible nonprofit. I highly recommend if you are a Star Wars lover to support Rancho Obi-Wan. Simply go to ranchoobiwan.org, O-R-G, and see what you can do to help support and donate. You can have annual memberships. They got all sorts of different things there that you can do to support Rancho Obi-Wan and Steve Sansweet. So please do that. Anyways, Dave and I were there supporting Rancho Obi-Wan actually 5 years ago for an event. And I asked him if I could interview him and I would talk to him about anything but Star Wars. And that's what we tried to do. Of course, we talked about Star Wars as well, but that's what you're about to hear is part 3 of the interview with Dave Filoni and the Filoni Files. So let's see what Dave and I have to talk about this time. Oh, there's so many things I want to just ask you because when we're together and we're talking about just stuff. Hockey, for example.
Oh,
now, I know nothing about hockey.
Oh, I know quite a bit.
You know you know more.
The Penguins are playing today. In fact, you remind me. I hope they better win. We need another win.
So what is it? Because hockey, football.
Yeah. Well, football. You grew up in Western Pennsylvania. You're going to watch football.
Okay. And is it a release for you? Is it a relaxation or is it work?
Football is more a way of life in Pittsburgh. Okay. You're going to be into football.
You just
the hockey is a complete. See, now it's not strange. When we were kids, it was an anomaly. We had a babysitter, Kurt Torpy, that basically, when he was watching my brother and I to give us something to do, he made us start to play street hockey. So we started playing street hockey, and for whatever reason, I just completely grasped the goaltending position. I think the whole thing is that you wore a mask and you had pads. And to me as a kid, that's like being a medieval knight. And you could paint that mask and put cool stuff on it. And I was like, this is for me. And I was never afraid of the shot or getting hit. So we always played with older kids. So I really think that there was a commonality there for all the things that I was reading as a kid, Lord of the Rings and, My Father's Dragon and just all these different stories of knighthoods and Parsifal. And you remember, Arthur was a big thing for my house and Wagnerian stories, Siegfried. And so here you are with a stick, like a sword, like a lightsaber. So you're personifying these things and you're fighting this battle where you're part of a team, but you're very much on your own as the goalie. And so I loved hockey. I mean, my brother and I, we just loved it. The Penguins weren't very good when we were kids. Yeah. And then we drafted Mary Lemieux and that just changed the whole culture of hockey. Of course. Go on. Everybody knows Mario.
I do know that name.
Yeah,
yes.
Of course
I'll give you that.
Legend.
Wow.
It's funny you say because my friend won't hear this, but I'm currently working on a painting of Wayne Gretzky right now.
Really?
Yes, because it's just one of those things, projects. But I made a bet with this friend of mine years ago that the Montreal Canadiens would probably win the Stanley Cup before the Pittsburgh Penguins would again. Back in 95, we're talking this bet. Okay. And the Penguins won the Stanley Cup before Montreal ever even sniffed at it again in 2009. So I've owed him this painting, and my friend's sister, she was in my class growing up.
Yeah.
So she emailed me months ago and was like, Dave, I would love if you could do this painting because, he's always wanted it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I really should do that painting. So I'm in the final stages of finishing it right
oil?
now.
What are you painting? Oil, acrylic?
I do a multimedia kind of thing where it's a pencil sketch that I then kind of throw and spray a bunch of paint on, and then I let that just kind of run and be weird. And then I had to sand this one down so you can see the pencil underneath, and then I'll go in with pencils to bring back the line, and then I'll paint with gouache on top of it. But I want it to feel a little bit sloppy because, of course, I have to work on photographs because I don't have any pictures of Wayne Gretzky handy, or he's not going to sit for me anytime soon. But I never like when you work off a photograph when someone just recreates the photograph.
Yeah.
I want it to bring some spontaneity or something that the photograph doesn't offer.
And a true artist can do that. They can see then the person, right, and kind of recreate it.
When it's good, like the way I do it. I was looking at it the other day. I told Ann, I said, Ann, this one's either going to be great or a total do-over. Like it was just at that point where you're like, I think I'm messing it up.
Yeah.
But and it's really fun to do.
Do you find you can save it? Because I don't know if you know, I paint. And
oh, cool.
I find that I hit a point in almost every painting where I go, this is a do-over. I've got it. And then I fix it, and
hard.
And I miss what I messed up a little sometimes.
Yeah. No one wants to do over.
No.
There's that old saying, right? The eye will tell you it's finished, no matter what the mind says.
But
you have to go with that.
Yeah,
you have to trust that. It's my dad used to have a bunch of great sayings like that when I was a kid, and I was first painting in acrylics, right? Really? And in the basement, yeah. And I was painting, and this is before this big Lord of the Rings pop culture fad that happened when Jackson made his movies. I was painting scenes from Lord of the Rings when I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. In junior high. I was all about it. I was all about Aragorn and Gandalf and all those things. So I was painting Éowyn when she confronts the Witch King, which is really one of the most important scenes to me in all story, because to me it was the defining moment for me as a boy growing up that said, without question, girls are every bit as good as you will ever be. Girls can do anything. Don't believe what you're told. Yeah. Don't believe what's been the dogma of the day that women have to be in certain roles. This character, she confronted one of the most terrifying things in that world. Yeah. And she destroyed it. And she did so in some ways out of her own desperation. I mean, I could go on length about Éowyn and her motivation for striking down the Witch King, and why can she do that? Because I've looked at it so much over life. But I remember reading that passage and reading it over again. Reading it over and over again, begone foul Wormlake, Lord of Carrion, leave the dead in peace. I can quote the whole thing, and I read it and read it and read it because I thought, wow, that's powerful what happened. Yeah. And probably, in truth, that's what drove me so much when making Clone Wars, to try to create so many strong female characters, because I felt very strongly about that. But back the painting, so I was painting that moment. Yeah. And I had set it up in my basement. I was painting in my little studio. Yeah. And I had these sheets up so no one could see what I was doing. And my dad came downstairs and he just ripped all those sheets down. He's like, if you want to be a painter, you have to step back away from your work. And it's that thing, Dad, man. And then I step back and I'm like, oh, he's right. And, it's ironic now because one of the first comments he had for me about that whole scene, as I had, Snowmane, the horse, there on top of the fallen Theoden and the fell beast on top of the Nazgul. Wow. And my dad was like, your horse looks too Disney. Ironic, right? Because years later, working for Disney. But he was like, it looks too Disney. And he was right. It didn't look like a real horse. So I had a lot to learn. But
do you still have those?
Oh, yeah. They're still in my dad's basement.
That's awesome.
There's a fantastic... I painted Éowyn and the Witch King. I painted Gandalf facing off against the Balrog on the bridge of Khazad-dûm. I painted Arthur as a boy in the waiting in the water, seeing the reflection of his future self. These are the things I painted in high school. Just very heavy. Bizarre.
I'd love to see those.
All that stuff. Oh, they're terrible.
Oh, no, still.
They're so clean. They're so just,
We talked a lot about Lord of the Rings, though, during Clone Wars, too. I mean, and it's
there's a lot of relativity for me there. I always, I always find Tolkien's structure of a world and the way that he created his world to be just unbelievable. It's every bit as real as if they were our own in detail and depth, and especially his views on evil and what evil can and can't do, and why they do the things they do. And I found that always fascinating.
It is. And it's like, for having a 8-year-old daughter, those are the books. We're reading The Hobbit right now. But those in the Chronicles of Narnia, because it gives such a great picture.
Oh, my mom read me those.
Of,
absolutely. Narnia.
The cold, harsh reality of evil. The Tolkien books, So it's great.
Well, and you understand too that evil in itself is not a creator. Evil takes and twists things and makes things that were good into evil, but evil of its own right can't create. That's one of its failings. Evil usually stems out of something that unfortunately was good and perhaps planned sometimes to become an evil thing, but it becomes evil out of greed, out of jealousy, out of spite, and
power,
ultimately, if you wanted one key to understanding Star Wars, ultimately it comes down to acts of selflessness versus acts of selfishness.
That's
the
great.
Jedi are ultimately selfless and the Sith are ultimately selfish.
Right.
And when you're a selfish person, you live in fear because you need these things to give you comfort and that makes you powerful because you can hold fear over others as well. And it's always driven out of a selfish need. So that's why when Anakin goes and he thinks he's doing the right thing to save Padme because he wants to protect her out of the goodness of his heart because he loves her so much, but ultimately it's a selfish thing because he's doing it for himself and he doesn't see it. It's not selfless like Yoda says. You have to learn to let go of these things and in some ways learn to believe that other people can overcome things without you meddling or getting involved. So on and on and on. I can go, as you know, with that.
It's a good lesson. All right,
kids. That's
been
my world for the last 8 years. So.
And there you go. That is part 3. Part 4, the conclusion of the Filoni Files is coming up this next episode of the James Arnold Taylor podcast. So I hope you come back and join me for the finale. I say finale. Some people say finale. Remember the finale tamale. Okay. Anyways, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the finale. Now I'm doing it. The Filoni Files. And what do we got now? Oh, Jerry the Music Man cued the music for Ask Jat. Thank you, Jerry.
You betcha, James. I'm going to split now.
Oh, you're kind of like announcer guy. Go now, split now, all that. Okay, thanks. So, we need Bob then. Hey, Bob. Hey, Bob. Oh, yes, James. Hey, Bob, how are you? Happy New Year. Well, and a Happy New Year to you, too. I hope you had a good New Year's Eve and watching the ball drop and everything. Yeah, well, I'm sure I did. However, it hasn't happened yet because, we're pre-recording the show, and so there you go. Well, I know I was trying to make it all sound real. But you do a good job with that, Bob. You do. So thank you for that. And do we have... Boy, we've got so many emails. Everybody has been going to jamesarnoldtaylor.com, clicking on the Jat Show link, and then filling out a thing. And everybody also is doing the topic, the JATcast podcast, which I love. You choose a topic in the drop-down menu, choose a topic. You make sure you choose a topic. But people are doing that, and I'm very grateful for that. And by the way, Bob, I don't know, are you hearing that big grrr-tunk? Yes, I was wondering what that is. That's my daughter upstairs. And my daughter's bedroom is above my studio, which is just not the best place. And she is, but it's cleaning day here at the Jat house, and she's cleaning, so she's doing a good job. She's cleaning the bathroom and everything, because that's part of her chores. Clean her own bathroom, because she has her own bathroom in her room. And she's cleaning all of that. And so I can hear the water turning off and on, off and on, off and on. So everybody, if you hear that, that's just what's happening there. It's real. I could record at a different time, or I could cut this stuff out, but that's not real. This is real life. When you record a podcast from your house, you hear people cleaning their sinks and stuff. That's it. Okay, Bob, man, we got a lot of emails, don't we? We indeedly do. We certainly do. We have many, many different ones, and it's hard to choose and get through so many. Well, okay, so we've got just kind of a group of ones that we want to get to, and so let's just take a look and see what we got. Okay, well, this first one is from Kevin Hale, Halle, Hale or Haley? It could be either one.
Yes, I'm not sure.
Okay, well, so all right, so there you go. It says, well, you go ahead and read it, Bob.
Well, I was about to, but then you started reading. I thought, well, maybe I'll let you read.
No, it's okay. I will let you read it. And there goes the water again, man.
Okay, here we go. Hi, James. I love your podcast. It is super fun. It always makes me laugh.
Well, that's good.
I have always wondered something about voice acting, and I've decided to ask.
Well, okay, see, Kevin, this is the right place to do it.
When voicing a character, I am guessing that you do much more than just provide a voice for them.
Well, I try to. I certainly try to develop a character. I mean, just like Bob here.
Yes, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Specifically, action sounds or things like that. I'm not sure what the technical term for that would be. When providing sounds for a character that are not words, what is written on your script? Does it say something like sound of the character jumping or something like that? Do they have a specific list of different sound effects that they need and you just quickly run through them? How long is that list for a game as compared to a show or a movie? How long does the recording of those sounds take? And are they done in sequence with the voicing or are they separate? Thank you for doing this super fun podcast. I really enjoy it. God bless, Kevin.
Well, okay, so thank you, Kevin. A lot of questions in there. They're all related. Let me just explain to everybody. So when you do a TV show or you do a video game or you do a character for one of these, we create what they call a library of sounds. So generally speaking, at the beginning of a show, what you'll do in the first or second episode after you've established what the voice is going to be for the show, at the end of the script, so we read through an entire script, and then at the end of that, what we do is we then do our library. And what that library is grunts and groans and falling and running and action sounds and fighting and all of those different sounds. And so, yeah, you put in here, Kevin, you said action sounds. Yes, action sounds would definitely be something. That is a technical term for it, sure. And you say characters are not words. Okay, does it say something? Boy, there is so much going on. Sorry, everybody. There's like... My wife is ironing in the other room. My daughter is cleaning. This is the worst day for me to do a podcast with all these sounds. I apologize for all the noise in the background. Anyways, sounds of the characters jumping or something like that. Do they have specific list of different sound effects that they need? Yes, they usually do. And it's always so like they'll go, okay, so we need the character running. And so then I have to, and then softer running. And then, running from something scared. And then jumping. And then falling. And then hitting. And then being hit. You run through all these various sounds that they'll use in the library. And so they'll have that character. So it'd be like Obi-Wan, say. And they'd have, then the sound designers keep those on file for each character. And they have each of those characters' little library of sound effects and things that they can drop in. So in case they're, they've changed a scene, they've put a fight in, they've done something and they've added some action to it, then they can use that library of sounds from each of those characters and they keep them on file. And we always add to them, as you kind of go along, there might be things to add. And we still do ADR and WALA for the characters as we go as well in shows, which I've explained in the past. So like after an episode is animated, but it's not done yet, we go back in and there might be like a fight between two characters and we have to kind of watch it and fill in as we watch. We and we watch it and put that in. Then they might take those sounds and drop them into the library as well. So you take a show like Guardians of the Galaxy where I was Yondu and I was Cosmo. I was Yondu, which Michael Rooker played Yondu in the movie. And I play Yondu on the video games and the TV show and all that. So Yondu has sounds, but then he also has whistling sounds, you see? Because Yondu whistles. Different types of whistling. I know all of you are going, gosh, James, whoa, ah. If you're wearing headphones, I'm sorry. Anyways, so I had to do all of the sounds for Yondu's whistling and stuff too. So every time you do a show or a character, yeah, you generally do that, especially with video games. They do a whole library, and we usually do all of those things at the end of the session. Why? Because they're a little more vocally taxing. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Kevin.
Oh, yes, thank you, Kevin, and that was very good.
Okay, what else we got? We should try to get through as many. We always end up doing like 2 or 3 of these. We should try to get through as many of these as we can, Bob.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, yes. Well, okay. Here we go. Jason Benham. of the USA says, thank you so much for the new podcast. I truly enjoy all the hijinks and characters and the constant messages of love, inclusion, and positivity. Oh, well, that's very good. Thank you. I absolutely loved the Christmas episode and had an ornament suggestion since there's such a void in the Obi-Wan market for Christmas ornaments. How about a Disney Infinity figure that would make a good substitute or replacement? Thank you for taking the time to read this, sir, and may the Force be with you always. Sincerely, Jason Benham. Well, Jason, okay, so if any of you listened to my Christmas special, I was talking about the various ornaments that I have on my tree here at Christmas time. And in fact, our tree is still up. We haven't taken it down yet. We keep it up until the first week or so of the new year. And I have character ornaments of all my characters except Obi-Wan Kenobi. Isn't that crazy? And I was saying there's really no good ones of Obi-Wan that you can find. There was one, and now it's not made anymore for the Clone Wars Obi-Wan. So Jason is suggesting I take a Disney Infinity figure and make it into a replacement as a good substitute as an ornament for Obi-Wan. And you know what? It's a fantastic idea. And you know what else is great about it, Jason? I remember before Toys R Us closed, which is one of the most tragic things in the world. Toys R Us, the world's biggest toy store, closed their doors. Tragic. Before Disney Infinity went away, also tragic, because I loved Disney Infinity, and I think it's ridiculous that they got rid of it. I don't know why they did. For those of you that were there were huge fans and followings. I was on shows at Disney. I went and did shows, video podcasts about Disney Infinity and the characters. So I don't know why they got rid of it. Anyways, before it all closed down, before Toys R Us closed, before the Infinity went away, they had on sale the Obi-Wan characters, action figures, and I bought a bunch of them. So I have extra Obi-Wan Infinity figurines, which is one of my favorite Obi-Wans. He's so cool looking. So you know what? I think this next year, I won't do it this year because, we're going to put the tree away in the next, few days or so. But I will do that for next year, Jason. That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, in doobly-doo. Okay. All right. So what do we got next, Bob? Yeah, Bob. Are you all right?
Yeah, I like saying that.
Oh, okay. Very good.
And this one, Bob, I see what you have up there from Daniel Jones of the United Kingdom. Can I read this one?
Oh, yeah, you most certainly can.
Okay, I'm going to read it. I think everybody will understand why, because I think this one's really special and lovely, and it's really nice. I just wanted to share it with y'all. It says, hey, James, I just wanted to let you know that I really love/support what you're all about. You really bring joy at a time that is very difficult. I see you like my uncle, with a little smiley face. I think that's nice. I've had to drop out of college due to my mental health and depression and was previously bullied at my high school. This world you've created is absolutely incredible and amazing to be a part of. It just allows me to forget about my problems. The interviews with the other voices, Obi-Wan is my favorite.
Oh, well, yes, very good, yes.
Is a nice touch, but more importantly, it's the serious talk that I deeply appreciate. It's very inspiring and motivational. It helps me fight my demons and learn some valuable insight. My dream is to become an esports player. I'm 16 at the moment, and I know that it's extremely difficult to become one, but I'll try my best. In conclusion, I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for it all. God bless you and your family, and that you're all safe and well. Happy regards, Dan. So that's from Dan Jones in the UK. Dan, I just want to say thank you so much for your wonderful letter. And my prayers are with you, and pray that you might be able to get back into college and all that if that's your dream and desire. If it's not, then it's fine. But I am just incredibly sorry to hear about you having some bullying problems and stuff there in high school and all that. And I hope this show does help you kind of find that space to kind of get your brain centered and focused and be able to kind of just, get through these things and know that you can do it, okay? Mental health, depression, these things, they're a lot more common than the world might want to say or take on. And I believe that so many people, especially young people today, people your age, Dan, or people that are even just a little older than you, the millennials and the Generation Z, I think that there is so many people dealing with this because there is so much being thrown at you all on a constant basis. Look, I am not that generation. I am bombarded by all of it. I don't know how everybody keeps up with it all. I'm on social media. I'm on, the computer and all this stuff just as much as any of you. I really try to stay up with everything. But I'm telling you, it is a lot of pressure on our bodies and our minds and our souls. So the biggest advice I can give you is, and I know you want to get into esports, But, take time to get out and relax. I don't know, anybody see Ready Player One? I'm sure all of you have seen Ready Player One. I just watched it this weekend with my daughter and my wife, and we really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. But the best message in that movie was at the end. If you haven't seen it, this doesn't give anything away. It's just because that it's about virtual worlds and stuff, and it's a comment he makes near the end of the movie. It doesn't give anything away. He says, make sure you get out and actually enjoy the real world. Take a couple days each week to do that too. And I think that is so important. So, if this podcast is kind of part of that for all of you, and I know it's tricky because it's also, you're on a device to listen to this podcast, or you're on a computer to listen to this podcast. And but I try to make it to where I help you with it. So, Dan, that's wonderful. I thank you so much. And I just wanted to read your letter and thank you for it. Okay, Bob, you can take over.
Okay. Oh, well, that was wonderful, James. I thought that was really great. I'm thankful for Daniel Jones to send that.
Yeah. Now, okay. So what else we got here?
Okay, we've got one from Noah Barber of the United States.
Okay, Noah Barber. All right. Hi, Noah.
He says, "Oh, hi, James. I'm a big Star Wars fan, and I love the Clone Wars. I think that you did a great job as the voice of Obi-Wan."
Well, thank you.
I am also subscribed to your YouTube channel.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed Clone Wars Conversations.
Thank you.
I have 2 questions for you. First, what is your favorite episode of the Clone Wars? And second, have you seen Star Wars Rebels? And if you have, what is your favorite episode of it?
Okay. Well, yes. Thank you. For a favorite episode, I don't know. I'm asked these questions quite a bit. What is my favorite episode of the Clone Wars? I love all of them. I really do. Some of my favorites were the arcs with the Mandalorian arc and any of the stuff with the Duchess Satine, Anna Graves, and then the stuff with Clancy Brown and Sam Witwer, Darth Maul and Savage Opress. Great stuff. I really enjoyed those episodes. I think that they're beautiful. They're wonderfully done. I actually really like some of the Lost episodes that were on Netflix as well. I think they were really creative and fun and neat, and I think it shows we were getting into a new place. That's why it's exciting that the Clone Wars is coming back. It really is, because now we get to kind of hopefully finish it all off in a way that is exciting and acceptable to all of us. Not just all of you as fans, but all of us as the actors that portrayed it and stuff too. So yes, that would be that. And your second question is, have I seen Star Wars Rebels? Yes, I've seen Star Wars Rebels. I was in the first episode of Star Wars Rebels, and then they subsequently used my voice again, those same recordings of Obi-Wan, the hologram of Obi-Wan in a couple other seasons and such, and they brought him back for that. I am not, I'll be honest, I am not caught up on Rebels. I've seen a few episodes, and it is a show that all my friends are on. I love all the people that are on it: Vanessa Marshall, Freddie Prinze, Taylor, and Tia, and of course, Dee and Ashley reprise their roles and do a wonderful job on it. And I know the show is over now, but they all did a wonderful job, and I think everybody really enjoyed working on it. I'll be honest. When I first, the very first time I actually was part of the pilot of that. I played Obi-Wan and I played Kanan in the pilot presentation that was presented to Disney to pitch them for the show. But when I first heard kind of the time period of the show Rebels, of when it was going to be on or what it was in, I thought that was a weird choice, and I still kind of do. I think that placing a storyline between those worlds of between Sith and A New Hope was an odd choice, and a tricky choice if you're going to be dealing with Jedis and all of that, because Luke is the chosen one in my book. At the end of the day, it's all about the Jedis have been gone now, destroyed by Darth Vader, and Luke is their only hope. And of course,
no, there is another.
But so I kind of had a problem with the whole thought of these other characters being Jedi and then being more powerful than anything we'd ever seen before, moving mountains and stuff. So I thought that was an interesting choice. It was not, the cartoon that I was associated with. Here's the other thing. I had just been on a show, Clone Wars, that changed the landscape of Star Wars, and I loved that show. And we all got fired, and then they brought in their own show. So it wasn't something that was on the top of my must-watch list. I'm just telling you, honestly, as a person, as a human being, that, anytime you're so closely involved with something and then you get pulled out of it and something else goes in its place, you're not like ready to jump into that. So I have not watched a lot of Rebels, but so I don't really have a favorite episode. But there you go. Long way around, Noah. Hope that answers your question, and I hope that a lot of people aren't mad at me for saying all that. Look, I know everybody loves Rebels, and I think that's great. I think you should, and I'm happy for everybody, and I think everybody's really enjoyed the show, and that's great. So there you go. Anyways, what else have we got?
Okay, well, we have one from Austin Wilson of Lexington, Kentucky.
Austin Wilson, Lexington, Kentucky. Okay, very good.
Hey, James, just want to say thank you for everything you do. The podcast is not only entertaining, but it's also a great source of comfort and wisdom for me.
Well, that is wonderful. I'm so pleased to hear that, Austin.
I also appreciate you talking about your faith, and it has inspired me to learn about God as well.
Well, bingo, spingo, that's even better. Great.
My favorite work of yours is Final Fantasy X. It brings back fond memories of warm, never-ending summers while I was still in school. Recent news of the good folks over at Square Enix discussing the possibility of a Final Fantasy X-3 made me giddy with happiness.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that at some point on the show. Because, I know they're just talking about it.
Yeah, oh, yes. And it says, if this message makes it on the show, could you tell Titus that we miss him dearly? If it happens, I can't wait to see Spira again with you at our side.
No. Oh, hey, Titus.
Yeah, James?
Austin Wilson from Lexington, Kentucky, says that that everybody misses you.
Oh, that's great. Thanks.
Okay, you're going to go now?
Yep.
See ya.
Okay. Now let me continue with his letter here.
Oh, yeah, okay, sorry. Go ahead. Just had to have Titus come in there.
No, I deeply do. I know that. My main question is this. Would it be possible to have an interview with Mark Hamill on the podcast? I know you're both great friends and seem to have a lot in common. The both of you radiate with positivity and genuine love for your fans. It's heartwarming, and he'd be a great addition to the show. Thank you, God bless, and may the force be with you.
Well, okay. Well, thank you, Austin. Sure, absolutely. It'd be wonderful to have Mark on the podcast. But at the same time, I've interviewed Mark so many times. So I think what I probably would do, rather than trying to, because Mark is incredibly busy right now, in trying to get him in to be on the podcast and stuff, he'd probably, I have interviewed Mark. I don't even know how many times I've interviewed him on stage at celebrations, Star Wars weekends, and other things. So what I'll do is I'll play some clips from some of the various interviews I've done with him, because I have audio of those through the years, and maybe we'll put some of those on as the little interview segment in some upcoming episodes of the podcast. But I probably won't have Mark on the podcast here anytime soon, because again, as I talked about earlier in the show, this show isn't as much an interview show, but more so just, kind of my fun place to talk and do voices and stuff. So, but thank you for asking. And again, I'll put some of Mark's interviews with me on as a version of your question. Okay?
Okay, well, let's see what else we got here then. This one is from Callum McHaffey of the USA. It says, "Hey man, I'm a massive fan of the podcast. I listen on the way to and from work and during lunch breaks. It means a lot to me and it is definitely a pick-me-up. Thank you for doing what you do. My question is, what is the most experimental voice you've created, and can you read the following verse in that character's voice?" And then he lists a little paragraph.
Yeah, no, I see that. Okay. So the most experimental voice I've created. I don't know. I mean, on this show, I create a lot of voices. I think as I've said before, the ones I really like are the old British voices. I love doing that. So let me take a look and see what you have here. Let me see. It says, "Take me back to South Tallahassee, down across the bridge to my sweet sassafrasy. Can't stand up with my feet in the city. Got to get back to the real nitty-gritty." Yeah, okay. All right, well, there you go. So I hope, Callum, you appreciate that. That's not maybe the most experimental voice. I don't... experimentally. Okay, I was doing an audition for a voice the other day, and I like this voice, but it's a little hard to do for a long period of time. So I was like, boy, I hope I don't book this, because, but It's almost kind of a bubble voice. You know that little bubble throat bubble thing you do?
It was, he was right in there. Yeah, he was, take me back to South Tallahassee, down across the bridge to my sweet sassafras. Can't stand up with my feet in the city. Got to get back to the real nitty gritty. Yeah, okay, that's the voice there right there.
So that's probably the most experimental voice I've been doing lately. I did that for an audition. So there you go, Callum. All right. Anyways.
Oh, yes, very good. Okay.
I think we got time maybe for one more. Bob, what do you say?
Yes, well, and on that note of experimental, this is from Jesse Patel of the USA.
Jesse Patel, okay.
Hi, James. How do you approach voices that could damage your throat? I know it probably strengthens the more you practice the tough voices, but how do you go about keeping the gravelly or shouty voices from being physically irritating? Love your videos and podcast. Grateful for your openness and enthusiasm for the art.
Okay, well, Jesse, yeah, that is a good question. And the trick with voices is you don't want to do anything that would damage your throat. So I stay away from any voice that would be damaging. Now, that voice that I was just doing, that would be the closest I would get to say that it could hurt after a while. But you have to know your limitations, what you can and can't do. I can do gravelly sounding things really pretty easy, and you can hear it right now. My voice is a little fried. It's just it's one of those things that for me has always been, I can put the gravel in, I can take the gravel out, and I can clean it up like that. Or I can put it in, I can put it down there, I can put it over there like Hank, I can bring it up like Franklin, I can do it in a British voice there, yes. But shouting, yes. Now shouting is another thing. Shouting can be physically irritating, and it can really damage the vocal cords. However, now for example, I am the voice of Magneto in the current batch of online Marvel video games.
So I'm the voice of Magneto. Pathetic humans, I, Magneto, will destroy you.
Which is kind of like Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen with a big voice like that.
Most of the lines they have me do for that
are shouting very loudly.
And I find that after a 2-hour session of doing that, my voice is very tired. But here is the benefit for me the next day. As you said, I know it probably strengthens the more you practice the tough voices. It does. So the next day, my voice is usually pretty strong because it's like having a workout. But I really make sure I'm not doing anything that I know would be damaging to my voice. How do you know that? Well, if it hurts, don't do it, okay? Because none of the voices I'm doing hurt when I do them. If it's out of your range, you probably shouldn't be doing it as a regular voice. You could do it as a voice every once in a while. Out of your range, what do I mean by that? Too high or too low. Okay,
you don't want to be talking down here all the time.
You could hurt your voice. You don't want to be talking up here all the time. You could hurt your. When I did Johnny Test, and I would do 4-hour sessions talking like Johnny Test, it's very demanding on my throat. So you try to really only push it to the areas where you know you physically can do them. So I hope that answers your question. And please, everybody, do not hurt yourself doing voices, okay? All right. So, Bob, I think I think we did a lot of great questions there. What do you think?
Well, no, indubitably. Okay, calm down. Yes.
Now you're turning into like Porky Pig meets Piglet. You're just you're kind of a piglety kind of character.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you very much, James.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me there, Bob.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Okay, so that's Ask Jat. Remember, if you want to ask me a question, you can go to jamesarnoldtaylor.com, click on the Jat Show button, and then go down, choose a topic, the JATcast podcast, ask me a question, or just tell me a little story. Tell me that you like what I'm doing or whatever. And there you go. Leave a comment like people have done here, and then we've read so many lovely ones here today. All right, everybody. I think that is that for Ask Jat. Hey, you know who we've not had on, we have not done lately, is the Get to Know Jat segment. Kind of similar. It's where Get to Know Jat is where I bring in Reginald Blythewood III. Reginald, don't call me Reggie. to come in and interview me. Now, Reginald comes in and asks me questions that he comes up with, as opposed to all of you in the Ask Chat where you have questions you ask me. But Reggie comes up with these questions. Reginald, sorry, comes up with these questions to ask me to kind of give you some insight into me. And, hopefully it helps everybody get to know Jat. See, that's the name. I don't know. So let's bring him in. It's time for Get to Know Jat. Play the music, Jerry, the music man. Really? You're still doing that? I am warming up my voice, James, please. Okay, I got it. So, Reginald, how are you? First off, did you have a Merry Christmas? I did. I had a wonderful Christmas, James. I hope you had a good one. I did. Yes, thank you for asking. Oh, you're being so cordial. I'm a very cordial person. I don't know why you would say I'm not. Well, you are a very cordial person, but usually you kind of give me a bad time. You harass me like Anthony Daniels did. Right. So I'm in good company then. Well, absolutely. I love Anthony. We always have a good time on stage. Right. So anyways, let's get to Ask Jat. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ask Jat. I am your host, Reginald Blythewood III. And today, I shall ask James Arnold Taylor, also known as Jat, a provocative question to get to know him even better. Wow, did you... Yeah, I noticed you're reading that. You wrote that whole thing up there. Is that for the new year? Stop it. Well, I'm just asking. Now you're back to being kind of, All right. Anyways, here we go. James, this is, and I think this is an interesting question. Well, I hope it's an interesting question. I mean, why else would we have you? Stop it. All right. Okay. What do you do when you can't sleep? What do I do when I can't sleep? Right. Oh, you didn't harass me for asking the question that you just... Stop. Just go. What do you do? I think a lot of people are curious about this, James. I think a lot of people suffer from the insomnia, and they would like to know, what does a creative soul like you do when you can't sleep? I think you're absolutely right, Reginald. I think you're absolutely right, and I think it's a great question, because I do, okay, I'm going to back up, though. I'm going to tell you some stories here, because I have never been a morning person. I've always been a night person. I've always stayed up late, and I'm a creative person. So this whole question that you're asking me, Reginald, right, is going to go off kind of I'm going to answer the question, don't worry. But it's also kind of an offshoot of another question I would like to have you and I discuss on another Ask Jat. So I'm going to present it to you now. You can kind of study up on it. I'm curious. Go ahead. Yes. Well, and I had mentioned it earlier, these kind of the Enneagrams or the Myers-Briggs personality profiles. Right. Yes, I've seen these. I've read about them. And I know you have told me what you are in those. Right. Well, so I'm like in the Enneagrams, I'm what they call a helper, or in the Myers-Briggs, I'm called the protagonist. So, I am somebody that is always kind of creatively thinking and moving and going and wanting to help please other people and do all this stuff and all that. So it's very hard sometimes for me to find that time to sleep. Now, here's why it's important to sleep. Because as you get older, see, many of you that are listening to this are much younger than me. So again, as I've said before, I'm 49 years old. I'll be 50 this year, 2019. We are now in 2019. I will be 50 this year. Wow. That'll be a fun podcast episode, won't it? Yeah? Okay. And over the last few years, as I had mentioned on an earlier podcast, I believe it was episode 5, where I really kind of laid out a lot of stuff. I talked about my health and things changing in my life and all. What I found through the years is if you do not get into a normal sleep cycle, something regular, as you get older, it becomes very hard and it becomes very taxing on your body. So it's important for all of you to develop good sleeping habits, okay? We're going to end the show here on a positive note about these things and trying to get you all to think about how you're sleeping, how you're living, how you're breathing, how you're acting in all these ways in your life. Why is sleep important? It is a wonderful time for your body to recharge. It is a necessity. It is a God-made necessity for you to sleep, okay? So if you cannot sleep at nights, you need to find ways of doing it. I have dealt with insomnia in the past. I have dealt with just my mind going and not being able to shut off. And I still do from time to time. There are nights where I just can't sleep, no matter what tricks or things I use and stuff. Right. So do you have then a trick or something you do then, James, that helps you fall asleep? Well, I don't know. It's not a trick. It's not a trick, you know, and you're going to go, oh, here he goes again. Prayer. Prayer is a huge thing, but also reading your Bible. Now, I know a lot of people, they say don't read in bed because bed should just be for sleeping. I don't know if all of you know this. People say you shouldn't be like watching TV in bed. You shouldn't be eating in bed. You shouldn't be on the computer, on the laptop in bed, or on your device in bed, because you want to make bed your one place that does not have all of that stuff going on. So when you get into bed, your body then goes, it's time to sleep. And I think that's an excellent thing. I really do think it's an excellent thing. So first things first, everybody, make your bed a space that is not your hangout spot. That is not. Now, I know some of you are like, look, I have a bedroom and it's a, 10 by 12 room and I don't have like a couch in there or something, James. I don't have. Consider this though. Consider if you have a desk or if you have another space in your room to put a chair or make that kind of your area where you would do your meditation or you would work on your stuff or you would read a book. You would sit up and read a book. Because the other thing is when you sit up and read a book, you can give it more of your attention. If you meditate, it's good to sit in a chair, feet flat on the ground, spine straight, back, straight, all of that, deep breaths and hands on your legs if you want, or just kind of relaxing, It's not the whole cross-legged on the floor. It's not that. No, it's just finding a space where you can just not think so much about your body. Let your body do its thing. Just sit. Now you can say, well, I can do that in bed. Yes, but then you're now taking bed, which is a place of sleep, and you're intertwining it with a place of, other things. You understand? So that's why it's important to make your bed a separate area. Right. Now, I've done this my whole life. Of course you have, Reginald. You're Reginald, and you're perfect. Stop it. I'm not perfect. I'm just saying this is something I did because my family had taught me this. And so I grew up knowing bed is the place you sleep. This is the place you work. This is the place you meditate. These are the various things you do. Right. Okay. So, well, that's wonderful, Reginald. So you find it works for you, right? I absolutely do. I think it's so important. And go on. Just go on. Go on. Right. Thank you. So all of that said, I do find sometimes if I just can't sleep, I will take my Bible and I will turn to the Psalms and I will read the Psalms and I will sit up kind of sit up, like, get the pillows. I have a couple pillows in there. I put them up on kind of a slant. And so I'm kind of awake and I'm kind of not. Now, I have to wear glasses to read now because my eyes have gotten, as I'm an old man now, I wear the glasses to read. And so I put my glasses on and I put that and I read the Psalms. And if my wife is, she doesn't mind if I read out loud sometimes because it's the Psalms. She loves that. If you don't know what the Psalms are, if you're not somebody that's into the Bible or doesn't know anything about that, look, the Bible is not just this big angry book of this big angry God that just
says, I will destroy all of you if you do not listen to me and do what I say. So saith the Lord.
That's not what the Bible is. It really isn't. It's a wonderful, as my good friend Tom Wilson, the actor Tom Wilson says, it's a library of books. Because it is. It's a library of various books put all together. You have Old Testament and the New Testament. In the Old Testament are the Psalms, and the Psalms are mainly written by King David, who was a wonderful, he was the king of Israel. He was the king. He was a wonderful man, a wise man. Now Solomon, his son, was the wisest man, they say, that ever lived, and he wrote the Proverbs. Now you can read the Proverbs as well, but Psalms are great because they're just these songs. And you know what? Most of you would find if you picked up the Psalms. First off, here's the other thing I'm going to suggest. If you're like, I don't have a Bible or I don't know about Bibles or whatever, get a Bible app. Okay. Put that on your smartphone or your device or whatever, or even on your computer. You can have a Bible app and then get a version like The Message. The Message is a great version of the Bible. What is it? It's basically kind of a modernized wording of it. Now, some people don't like it because they say, oh, it shouldn't be like that. I say, hey, whatever gets you into reading God's word is awesome. I read from the Message quite a bit because it is a kind of a paraphrase of what was said in the original kind of text there of so many different translations of the Bible. There are so many different translations. I like the New King James Version. Not the regular King James. That's the thee, thou, and hither, and all that. The New King James is updated. But the Message is great because it just, and Eugene Peterson, who just passed away, God bless him, God bless his soul. Thank you for all the work he did on this planet as a theologian and a pastor. He took the Bible and he turned it into this wonderful paraphrase of it so we all could pick it up and understand it, because we speak a different language now. So he would, a psalm from there would be just so much different from the Message as opposed to, let me see. I'm going to go to hang on. I'm going to go to Psalms. One of my favorite Psalms, it is Psalm 37. And it is a Psalm of David, meaning King David wrote this. Okay, so like the New King James Version would say, Psalm 37 verses 5 through 8 or so. Commit your way to the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. He shall bring forth your righteousness as the light and your justice as the noonday. Okay, so that's all good. I like that. That's very poetic and lovely. But listen to it in the Message. Open up before God. Keep nothing back. He'll do whatever needs to be done. He'll validate your life in the clear light of day and stamp you with approval at high noon. See that? So it just kind of modernizes the language, makes it a little easier to understand. And it's a lovely thing. The Psalms are wonderful. They're saying what a loving God really is. So I read the Psalms. I really do. And I find they get sleepy. I get sleepy when I read them sometimes. And you go, well, you shouldn't get sleepy then while reading God's word. It's the Bible. No. You know what? God is like, fine, man. You want to fall asleep to reading my word? That's great. I don't care if you fell asleep reading. It's not disrespectful. You're taking it in. It should be in you all the time. So that is one of the tricks I do. The other thing is what I talked about. What I talked about earlier, Reginald, for the Christmas present. I don't know if you heard. I listened to the podcast, James. Yes, I heard. I've heard from the other room you were talking about. The weighted blanket. That's what you're going to say, right? That is exactly what I was going to say. Yes. The weighted blanket has helped me sleep at night as well. That extra weight. Now, if you don't have the money to go out and buy a weighted blanket right now, try, just get something that's a little heavier. Like you have a heavy blanket and you can put that on you and it's the weight of that. I also sometimes will fall asleep with my Bible on me or a heavy book. I'll put it on my chest. It just feels good. The weight of that helps me rest. And then here's the big thing. Deep breathing. Big, deep breaths. Envisioning your body. It's kind of a meditative-y kind of thing that you do before going to sleep. Big, deep breaths. And I do more of them than I need to do to really try to relax. And I will pick something like Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not be in want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Or you know what I do? I make up my own psalms. I do. In my head, I'll start making up my own psalms. God, I am so grateful. How grateful am I for you, that you give me all these wondrous gifts in life. I am but a child in your presence, and you are my Father who leads me and guides me in paths that I could not foresee in my younger years. See, I just made that up just now. That's just off the top of my head. I will just do those things. I will just make up stuff, talking to God, saying how grateful I am, and thinking about other people. Here's the big thing. When I really can't sleep, or if I wake up in the middle of the night, I pray for other people. And I pray for all of you. I do. You go, who do you pray for? I pray for obviously my family and my friends and people I know that are sick, or family members that aren't doing well, or if people have family members that aren't doing well and need prayer, I pray for them. And then I pray for all of my fans. I pray for everybody that listens to this podcast. I pray for some of you that have written me the letters and stuff that I know there's people there that I keep you in my prayers. There's several of you there I could name. Ben, Tiffany, Megan, Cassandra, Eric, Derek, Mandy, Lou, all these folks that have sent me these wonderful letters. I pray for all of you. I do. I pray for you. I hope for the best for you. And as I drift off into a dreamland, I'm thinking of positive things and helping other people. And that helps me. It helps me drift off. That may not work for everybody. I get it, Reginald. I do. I know that some people may go, well, that's great, James, but I've tried all that stuff and it doesn't work for me. It's like counting sheep. Then, well, and in that case, I'm so sorry. And that's why I'm praying for you all the more that you would get some sleep. So I pray for everybody to have good rest and such. So that's kind of my key. That's what I do. If I'm in a real pinch, I will get up. Here's another thing I will do. I'll get up out of bed because I grew up, okay, last story. I grew up where bed was not a safe, comfortable space for me. I've had everything from my bed catch on fire when I was a little kid, which is a story for another time, to just having bad experiences where a bed was not a safe space for me. And so sometimes I would sleep on the floor. So they would, my mother and my family, my brother and sister would say, we never kind of knew where we'd find Jamie when you wake up in the morning, and I usually would be at the foot of my brother's bed. I would sleep on the floor next to my brother's bed a lot of times. And my older brother, Steve, who was, big brother, big protector. So I would fall asleep on the floor at his bedside. I would sleep wherever. I didn't sleep in beds a lot. So when I can't sleep now, sometimes what I will do is I'll go and get a blanket, nice comfy pillow, sit on the couch and turn on a show that I know I've seen before, and I'll fall asleep to it. I don't want you all doing that, but I'm telling you that's like in my absolute worst case scenario stuff. That's what I do when I really, really can't sleep. But that's when prayer hasn't worked, when reading hasn't worked, when deep breathing hasn't worked, all of that. And that's, maybe once a year that I experience something like that now. But here's the other thing, getting on a good schedule, okay? So important. Not eating a bunch of food before bed, okay? Really important. Don't eat a bunch of food before you go to bed because now it's like you get acids and stomach and all that, and your body's going, okay, now I got to do all this. No, you need to. So if you go to sleep at midnight, stop eating a few hours before that, 2 or 3 hours before that, okay? You drink a little water maybe, but not right at bed there, okay? And prepare yourself in your mind. The other thing to do, gosh, there's so many things. Don't go on your devices at least an hour. I'd like to say 2 hours before you go to bed. Get off the devices. I really would. And if you do have a device that you're on or whatever, make sure that you turn off the filter on the iPhone. It has that thing to where you can do the nighttime vision, where it's like more of an orange light on it, the blue light stuff they talk about. Because it wakes you up. Fluorescent lights and stuff, that all has an effect on your body and your brain, and it says, hey, wake up. So look at your surroundings, okay? Look at your surroundings, see what is causing you to stay awake, and try your best and tell yourself this. Remember the mindfulness I talk about? Telling yourself, I can do this. So first thing you do is tell yourself, I can actually go to sleep when I need to go to sleep, and I can wake up when I need to wake up. And breathe it in and take that in and know that. The other thing is do not be on these devices up until the end of don't play video games at the end of the night. I'm sorry, guys. I know, but please don't. Try it, okay? Eat some good food. Breathe. Pray. Read a little something before you go. Before you go and get into bed, maybe read some stuff and get sleepy sitting in the chair reading or whatever, right? Or on the floor or whatever. And then go and get into bed once you're now I'm sleepy. I'm restful. Now I'm going to get into bed. Does this all make sense, Reginald? I think it makes great sense. I think it's great advice. So the key is, let's just recap. You want to make sure you're not eating a big meal before bed, right? You want to make sure you're not on your devices a couple hours before bed, right? I know that's hard for everybody. I know that's hard. And if you are going to be on a device, put it on the special nighttime lighting stuff, okay? Right. And try reading before going to bed to really get yourself something that's calming, poetry or the Bible or something that makes you relax and enjoy and let your mind go. That's right. Yes. Then if you absolutely can't sleep, pick it up, read it in bed, but try not to. Try to make bed that safe place make your bed just the place for sleeping. Right. Very good advice, James. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with everyone. I think that's great New Year's advice. I think it's something people can do with the new year. I think you're absolutely right, Reginald. Don't call me Reggie. And I thank you for it. So I think, thank you. Happy New Year, Reginald. And a Happy New Year to you as well, James. And I'll see you next time. Not if I see you first. Well, now you're doing what the Mr. Announcer guy does. Right. Okay. All right. Bye-bye, Reginald. Reggie. I heard that. Sorry. Gosh, he's got like super hearing. Well, I think that's the show. I think we've had a good New Year's show. It's a new year. We're going to have new episodes. I'm going to talk about more stuff. We've got more of the Dave Filoni, the conclusion of the Filoni files coming up next week. And then I'm going to start a whole interview with my friend Alan Arnold in the episodes to come after that. And all sorts of new things. Going to talk about where I'm going this year because I've got a lot of Comic-Cons I'm going to this year. I'll talk about that the next episode. And so many new things to talk about. So let's embrace this week. Let's get some good sleep. Let's eat healthy. Let's live. Let's breathe. Let's drink a lot of water. Let's have a good life and a good time until next time on the James Arnold Taylor Podcast. Oh, Mr. Announcer Guy.
Oh, yes, James.
You ready to end the show? Now, okay, so at the end of the show, you always say copyright 2018. Are you still going to say that even though it's 2019?
I will, James. You know why?
No.
Well, because the copyright was made in 2018, and so I have to say that. It doesn't change.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, because we copyrighted the show in 2018, and so it'll always say that. And I'm saying all of this so people don't go, hey, Mr. Announcer Guy's still saying 2018 at the end. He's supposed to.
That's right, baby.
You're calling me baby again. Okay. All right, baby. Go ahead and read that thing.
Talking to Myself, the James Arnold Taylor Podcast is a production of Yumigo Inc., recorded at JAT Studios. Engineered, written, recorded, and produced by, you guessed it, James Arnold Taylor. All voices are parody and should be construed as entertainment only. All music and sound effects used with permissions and licenses through Backtracks, Digital Juice, Production Tracks, and Partners in Rhyme. James Arnold Taylor's Talking Myself, the Podcast, copyright 2018, all rights reserved.
Thanks, Mr. Announcer Guy. I hope you have a wonderful new year.
And you too, James.
You got any clever way to end the show now?
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
Okay, bye-bye.
Goodbye.